Welcome to Where There's a Will.
There's a play.
I'm Ian, your Make a Bugsy casual gamer.
I'm Stacy. I'm your non-gamer gamer.
And today we are here with a 5W's Kickstarter preview of 14ers, designed by Zach Sullivan, with art by Hinterland Outdoors, and brought to us by Grazing Games, who provided this game for review. You can follow the link in the description for the campaign, which launches this Tuesday, October 21st on Kickstarter.
In 14ers, you are a climber trying to summit as many peaks as possible by collecting route cards, managing your gear, and planning efficient paths across the state's mountainous terrain.
All right, let's get down to the table for a quick walkthrough. All right, we are all set up for a game of 14ers. In 14ers, you have 4 sets of cards. There are class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 4 cards. Depending on how many people are playing, you will choose a certain number and stack them with the class 4s on the bottom, then the 3s, then the 2s, then the 1s. You will deal out 3 cards, and you will choose an accolade, which has either basic or advanced sides. These are end game scoring for the player that has the most. If you are using the backcountry variant, you will gather your weather cards and either on the temperate or severe sides. And each player will gain a hiker. The first player will get the A if you're using the easier side, or the B for the harder side, and the second player will get C or D. In a 3 or 4 player game, the third player would also get the C, D card, and in a 4 player game, the fourth player would get the AB card. So there's 2 of those. Each player will get a reference card, which has the attributes and slides. It gives you all of the symbols on it, and then it gives you player reference on the other side. So it gives you hiker attributes, hiker sides, climber characteristics, round order, and scoring. Really nice. Okay, so that is the setup of the game. And then everybody gets a horizontal and a vertical tracker thing here that keeps track of your endurance, which is the little boot symbol, and your technique, which is the little ice axe symbol or ice pick. During your turn, you are going to take 4 actions, or sorry, not 4 actions. On your turn, you are going to flip a card, and then you are going to climb one of these 14ers. You need to have the accurate or the right amount of endurance and technique. And then there's also a backpack symbol, which is utility. It's kind of a wild, it can be used as anything. Some of them have symbols like this camera on it, which at the end of the game, if you use it as a guide, you will get points. Some of them have a Jeep. If you're using the weather, this can help you navigate some of the weather without taking the weather into effect, because the weather will change what you can and cannot do as far as tucking stuff on your cards. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a card and you're going to tuck it on one of your sides. If it is a rank 1 or 2 or a class 1 or 2 card, you have 2 options. You can use it as gear. You can see there I get 2 utilities towards a rank 1 or class 1 or class 2 peak, and I would tuck it on this side of my card, and that is my turn. If I wanted to use it as training, I would get 1 endurance for every camera symbol I have. I have 1 camera symbol, so my endurance would go up by 1, and I now have 2 endurance and 2 technique on my trackers here to get future cards. Once you do that, then it's the next player's turn. They do the same thing. They flip a card, they would take 1, they would tuck it. As your cards get higher, you will get, as you get to class 3 cards, you will now be able to have, sorry, class 2 cards now have what are called plans, and these plans will allow some extra scoring at the end. So like this one says 2 stars per different class in your capstone. So some of the stuff are capstones. When you get to level 3 and 4, or rank 3 and 4, or class 3 and 4, you have these capstone points. So if you tuck it underneath your capstone, that is guaranteed points at the end of the game. You play 9 rounds. Everybody will end up with 9 cards. And when you're done with that, you count up your points, and the person with the most points wins. You count points for your accolade winner. You count points for the number of stars you have in your plans. You count points for the number of points in your summit. And if you were to use a guide, so if I were to use this card that has a camera on it, I could discard this at some point. So this card if I had it in my gear, it's only good for class 1 and class 2 mountains. I could discard this at some point, and what a guide does is it allows you to ignore either weather or hazards. So some of these cards have a hazard on them, and it gives you some requirements. So like this one here, Capital Peak, this hazard is you must already have a class 4 mountain in your tableau around your hiker. Well, if I were to discard this as a guide, I could ignore that. Or if there was weather, I could ignore it. Or you could ignore all of this. And there's a great player aid that tells you all the stuff that a guide can do. At the end of the game, person with the. All right, and now back for some wins of the game. This game has a strong theme that really comes through in the cards. Summoning the 14ers appeals to hikers, locals, and other enthusiasts, or just going to the 14ers and seeing them. And this game is all about that. 14ers are mountain peaks that are 14,000 feet or taller in the state of Colorado. I believe we have the most 14ers
Yep.
in the country. So it is something that hikers and outdoor enthusiasts, it's kind of a mission for some of them to hike all of the 14ers. Some people just want to hike one. I almost hiked one when I was much younger as a kid, but it was not to be. We came from Wisconsin. The only time we could get up was the next day. So we were coming from lowlands to highlands. We hiked up. We got to the boulder field, I think at Pikes Peak it was. And
Ooh.
my brother and I got very sick from the altitude. And my dad the next day got up early and summited, but we unfortunately could not get to the summit. So, and I think you've climbed one of them.
I've climbed one.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Colorado from Montana, my goal was to get to all of them. Done one.
How many have you
Life. I'm
gotten to?
still. Oh,
You
I've
didn't
been
say get to
to.
the top of them. You just got to
Yeah, I've
them.
been to a lot of them, and I've actually driven up ones that
Yeah.
have high roads. So
Yes.
we'll count that as
We've been to the top
being.
of a couple that you can drive up to. There
Yeah.
are some you can get to the top
Yeah.
to by
Absolutely.
driving.
Absolutely.
Um, I will say the backcountry variant does add some weather that to non-Coloradans might seem a little bit odd. But these weathers on here, so like in July, even in the temperate, it says fog, rain, mud. Okay, no big deal. But then when you look at August, all of a sudden you're seeing sleet and snow and blizzard, and that's the temperate side. Then you can go to the severe side where you've got snow in July and you've got
Doable.
lots of sleet, hail, and storms all of August. This is completely normal in Colorado. It is especially normal on the peaks of the
Yep.
14ers. So this variant, which we'll talk about a little more here, does add some good Colorado theme to it that some might find odd that is part of it, but it is really good. So I like the theme of this game. I think it comes through very strong.
Yes, and I agree. And especially in the artwork, I think that the artwork of this game brings the game to life with the beautiful illustrations of each mountain by Hinterland Outdoors. It has been drawn to perfection. If you know the Colorado terrain and you know the mountain and the peaks that are here, somebody took a lot of time to actually study these mountains and get it just right. We can, in Colorado, a lot of people can just look at a mountain and tell you which mountain it is.
I can't.
I can do some of them.
Some of them.
I can do some of them. But the artwork in these is absolutely beautiful. One side of the card tells you about it. We'll talk about that later. And it has a picture on it, and then the back side of it has the full illustration of it.
So this is your game side, and
That's
this
your
is the
game
back side
side.
that has the full
Tells you
illustration.
in bigger font, it tells you the height of the mountain.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful artwork. This is probably, and not just because I live in Colorado and I'm familiar with most of these peaks and mountains. It's probably my favorite artwork that I've seen in a long time.
It is right up there. It is right up there. This is a Colorado-based company. And
Yes.
they do, you can purchase this artwork on their website. We will link their website as well in our description. But you can go on there and get canvases and prints and shirts and apparel and stuff for this artwork. So if you like this artwork, they do have this available for purchase on their website. So that was Hinterland Outdoors once again. Right. The components of this, I think the components of this are really well. It's just cards, but they're a good quality card. I do like this tracking system for your endurance and your technique, where depending on what you get, you just slide this back and forth and up and down, and it tells you exactly what you have. So you don't have to keep counting on your cards like, okay, I've got 3 of the, okay, I've got 4 of those. You can keep easy track of
Mm-hmm.
those. So I do like that. The player aids are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
One side has all of the climb characteristics. So the 3 things you might see next to the number on your card that tells what type of card it is. It gives you your round order. It gives you your scoring after the 9th round. The other side has what all the attributes are. And it has all the hiker side things. So it tells you. So you have your like your gear. It tells you what the different sides on your hiker. So here's your hiker card. So it tells you what your different things are. So you've got your gear, your training, your plan, your capstone, and then the star means points, and that symbol means a guide. So I really like this very simple card, but
Mm-hmm.
it is also very informative. Like one of the better player aids I've seen that
Mm-hmm.
is there's a lot of information on this, and it's not doesn't feel crowded. So I
No,
do
not at
really
all.
like that component. And yeah, the I mean overall the component. I mean it's cards, but it is a nice thickness card. Oh, and I do want to mention as we're talking about the components, this is a prototype
Mm-hmm.
copy, so there will be some changes to the game possibly. But right now, I mean, for a prototype copy, this is really good quality and everything.
Oh, I love the thickness of these
Yeah,
cards. I
yep.
I don't know if they're going to improve on those. I don't know how they can, but I.
Oh, and on the back side of these, you can keep score at the end of the game, and then you can track your utilities, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on the other side.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. One of the things that I like about this is that it does have a quick play time. It's only 9 rounds. So for 2 players, this game is fairly quick. I think we played it in probably 30
30
minutes.
minutes.
Um, you know,
And
the,
that's probably even a little bit long. We'll talk about that a
yeah.
little bit in some of the stuff. That's probably a little bit long. It's probably more of a 20,
Yeah.
25-minute game for 2 players.
So for anybody who knows me, I'm a 30-minute, maybe 45-minute or less gamer, and this falls right in there for me. So this was perfect timing for me.
The replayability of this game, I think for 2 players is going to be really
Mm-hmm.
good. First of all, you only use about half of each class of cards. Some of them use just slightly more than half. So you almost have a second set of cards completely available. And then you just randomly choose, like at class 1, you just randomly choose like one more to throw in there. Class 4, the same thing. Class 2, you've got them. Class 3, you randomly choose one. So you've almost got 2 games completely set up, and then you can just randomly choose just to fill the spots that aren't full. So I do like that. I think that's going to make it replayable for us. The fact that there are 3 different accolade cards, which are 2-sided. So they have 3 basic accolades, and then there's 3 advanced accolades. So that adds 6 more things that you can play. You can play the backcountry mode, which you can add in the weather, which adds another thing to think about because it limits, like sometimes it may not allow you to put gear in a round, or like if there's fog you can't put gear, or if there's rain you can't put in gear, or if there's mud you can't train because it's muddy out, which is going back to the theme. Like the way the weather affects what you can do with your climber is also very thematic, because
Mm-hmm.
like if it's muddy out you can't really do any training. If there's a blizzard out, you can't get a capstone, you can't go to the peak because there's a blizzard. You're not going to go to the peak in a blizzard.
I would
So
hope not.
going back to the theme, the weather in this is really really thematic as to what they use and what it allows and doesn't allow you to do. Um, yeah, so like between the weather and the accolades and the fact that there's enough mountains where we basically have 2 separate games and they shuffle them and you can get other separate games in. For us personally, for a 2-player game, I do believe that this is going to be fairly replayable. And I didn't even mention the hikers. The backside, the hikers, the more difficult hikers, which give you starting things different. And if we start with the opposite hiker, you're starting with different things. Like hiker A has 1 endurance and 2 technique. B has 2 endurance and 1 technique for it. So and then or C. Then B has only 2 endurance and D has 2 of each, but you
Yeah.
can't do any capstones with D. So it'll change your gameplay up. So the replayability for us and for a 2-player game, I do believe is going to be really high for this one.
I absolutely agree with all of that. And as a non gamer, this game was so easy to learn. It is extremely family friendly. And it still offers a lot of strategic choices, I think. So strategy will play into it about what you're
Yeah.
doing, and it's very accessible gameplay, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Very easy to learn. Like
Mm-hmm.
once you play it once, it's like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yep.
You're collecting 9 cards. You got to figure out where you want to put it. The solo mode. So there is a solo mode to this game, and the solo mode is very easy to run. It plays very similar, except for the only big difference is every time you flip a card over on your turn or on the AI's turn, good old Jerry, you are putting it in the leftmost spot, and Jerry always takes the rightmost spot. So he will always take the card in the rightmost. When he takes a card, he just simply tucks cards. If it is a level 1 card, he or if it is a rank 1 or 2 card, he tucks it under training. If it is a rank no, sorry, if it's a rank 1 card, he tucks it under training. And if it is I want to make sure I get this right, because if it's a level 1, he tucks it under training. If it's a level 2, he tucks it under plans. If it's a level 3 or 4 or rank 3 or 4, then he puts it in the capstone. So this, and then Jerry scores exactly the same as you do. Okay, so he scores based on the points and everything. So there's a little strategy added there, because you're like, okay, if I can force him to get 3 level 1s, I know those are going under training. It's not going to score him points depending on what he gets in the plans. But I definitely don't want him to get a lot of plans, and I definitely don't want a lot of capstones, because those are guaranteed points. In my one solo game, I was able to force him to get a plan on his 6th round that scored him no points, because it scored him stars for the gear, and he doesn't get any gear. So it scored him 0 points. So there is a little extra strategy as to what you're taking to make sure that you don't give Jerry something that is going to score him points. But the solo mode, very easy, very simple to run.
Very nice. And anyone who watches us knows that I love educational tie in games. Each card has the name of the mountain on one side and a few facts about it, or maybe even just one fact about it. So for Mount Elbert, Elbert is the highest peak in Colorado and the second highest in the 48 contiguous US states. So I love learning, and I especially love learning about Colorado facts. Or, Western, that's where I spend most of my time, is in the Western part of the United States. So this is right up my alley. And if you like learning things like I mean, you know how many trivia nights I have accomplished with winning like one first, second because of this kind of game that I learned from? it's it's great. So if you too like educational games and you like learning about Colorado, especially, this game is right up your alley.
All right.
And now on to some of the weaknesses or woes. This is the part that I hate talking about, but these are things that you may want to think about before backing this or purchasing it in the future. A lot of this is luck dependent. So if the cards don't come up that you need, it can get a little frustrating if you can't get the gear or the routes or the training that you are really needing to get a good engine building going. The randomness can overshadow the game planning a little bit.
Yeah, we saw that in my first game. I overplanned and didn't look at the stuff close enough, and it was a lot my fault, um but it is, yeah, I agree with that. Like, if you're going like, okay, I really need this, well, shoot, there's nothing coming up that I can get more endurance, and I need more endurance in order
Mm-hmm.
to do anything. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, the other person's taking the endurance and I can't get any more endurance. It really limits what you can take in the future. So it is, I mean, with any sort of drafting game and cards coming up, there's going to be some luck as to how the cards come up. Replayability concerns. Now, I did mention that for us, I think this game has a lot of replayability due to the weather, due to having basically 2 separate games almost set up from the start, due to the different accolades and the different hiker cards. But I can see how people who are more gamers, I mean, we're pretty big gamers at this point. We play a lot of games, but people who maybe this isn't their type of game or something, or they want something there's more. I can see after a while they could lose interest after several plays, because nothing really changes. Sure, the cards come out differently. Sure, you can have a different accolade. Yeah, you might use the weather. You might use a different hiker. Sure, but really, okay, you're grabbing a card, you're tucking it on one of 4 sides. that's about it. There's not a whole lot else to it. So I could see how some people might find this game pretty much the same after several plays. And they'd be like, okay, I've played it out. There's nothing really else to it. For us, like we said, we think it's going to be very
Mm-hmm.
replayable because it's also a quick weeknight game,
Mm-hmm.
But I could see that concern for some people.
And there is a lot of downtime between turns. So at a higher player count, there might be a bit too much downtime for a game like this with a lot of people playing. Um, there's a lot of thinking involved on what card to take depending on your plans or your training or your gear. So there is a lot of downtime, especially for non-gamer gamers who, like myself, I take a lot of time to figure out what I need to do because I'm not an overthinker, but I do try to make the perfect play, which isn't
Right.
always the way to go sometimes. So I know that Ian was getting a little bored with me taking a while. So
Yeah.
I think once we play more, it'll go a little bit quicker once we do learn what's on the cards and uh, keep mastering all of the different mountains and peaks. I think it will pick up a little bit. But for some people, that might be a drag.
Yeah. I will say I think there isn't a lot of strategic depth to this game other than figure out where you want to put your cards. Yes, okay, do I want to use this as a training so I get extra attributes immediately? Like I get extra technique, endurance, or utility. Do I want to use it as a gear because then I get some extra options on some things? So the gear allows you some extra options on certain things. Like one of them says you get an extra utility towards the tallest mountain or towards anything that has mount or peak or the shortest. And you can get stuff like that. Or it's like, oh, do I want to use this as a plan or do I want to use this as a capstone? But I think once you played a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
I think the strategy is almost going to be like, okay,
Go for
I'm going to do
points.
this early when I can, and then I'm going to go for this late. So the depth of strategy, I don't think is going to be huge, but I don't think that's what this game is.
Mm-mm.
So
So there also is limited player interaction in this game. Now we both love our multiplayer and solo games, so we don't always need a lot of player interaction in games, but it is something to keep in mind. Most actions are just a solitary action with limited ways to impact others beyond racing for the tops of the peaks. So if you're a gamer who likes to bounce off other people or do bad things to other people, or this is just you playing on your card.
yeah,
There's no passing cards between other people. This
yeah.
is you playing your game.
Yeah, the only real interaction is you might take a card somebody else
Mm-hmm.
wants. So it is really a multiplayer solo
Mm-hmm.
game because you're doing your own thing. Yeah, you might be paying a little attention because there are some cards that kind of make you pay attention. Like, oh, that person has a lot of those. Because some of the gear does say you can use the other
Mm-hmm.
person's technique or the other person's endurance. So you might be like, you know what, my endurance is really low, but I see that Stacy's got 4 endurance. Well, man, I that card I don't know if I really need, but having 4 endurance instead of 2 when I can't get any more feels really good. So you might that, but you're not really interacting. You're just kind of maybe looking at what the other person
Yeah.
has as you're taking cards or stuff. So there's not a whole lot of interaction. I agree with that. So analysis paralysis, something both of us can suffer from sometimes. And so I previously said there's a lack of strategic depth. But if you're like us, um, this despite the strategic depth, you can suffer from analysis paralysis, especially once you get up to like the level 3 and 4 or the level 3 cards, which have 4 things on them. You can put this in all 4 spots. Well, I know we're at rank 3 and we're getting near the end. Am I going to get myself some more gear? Do I need this extra endurance and this extra technique for level 4 cards that are going to come up? Or do I want point? Oh man, I was able to get a lot of, class 2 cards. So, I mean, that's a star each. Or do I just take the guaranteed 3 points because I know I can't get any more of these? And so that's where we started to struggle a little bit. But that's us. I mean, we do in games like this, we do have some like like I said, level 1 cards, you have two options. You have gear or training. Level 2 cards, you have gear, training, plans. Level 3, you have everything. Level 4, you have training, plans, and capstone. So it's like, do I take those big guaranteed points, or do I take this? Or even when you're choosing a card, there's a little bit of analysis paralysis as to
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, well that that gear is really good, but I do need that training, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it next. So if you do suffer from that, even though there's not a lot of depth in strategy, there's a lot of decisions to make as far as what you're going to take. So there's a little depth in strategy which can lead to some analysis paralysis. We had that definitely for some things.
Yeah, just a little bit. And just a reminder that this game launches on Kickstarter this Tuesday, October 21st. You can follow the link in the description to follow the campaign.
Right. Well, everybody, there is our review of 14ers. Um,
Pack your chapstick in your water and get ready, acclimate yourself for some hiking up to a higher elevation.
All right, so to wrap it up, 14ers is a beautiful, easy to learn game that really captures the spirit of climbing Colorado's tallest peaks. The theme shines through with real mountain names, gorgeous artwork, and
Mm-hmm.
a satisfying feel of racing to the summit. On the flip side, it is definitely more of a light, family weight experience. Luck of the draw can play a big role, and there's not a ton of deep strategy or player interaction once you've played a few times. If you're looking for a relaxing, outdoorsy game to enjoy with family, friends, or fellow hikers, 14ers does exactly what it sets out to do. All right. So there you have it, everybody. Let us know what you think about this game. If you've played it, if you're another content creator who has reviewed this, let us know what you think about it down in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Does this look interesting to you? And like Stacy said, and we said at the beginning, please, the link is in the description. So please go follow the campaign. It does launch this Tuesday.
I love this game.
This game is fun. This will be we will back this one for the final copy for sure. Once again, this has been Where There's Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian,
I'm Stacy
and we'll see you next time.
at the table.